Hello and welcome. Today we've got something a bit more different on the bench. This is a hybrid power converter for a Mercedes E-Class diesel hybrid. It has cooked itself and failed most spectacularly, and this has melted itself, which is the 12 volt DC input, because in use on the vehicle, when the vehicle's running, it turns off the alternator and uses the high voltage system to charge the 12 volt battery, and it can also charge the high voltage battery from the 12 volt system under certain circumstances. I think that's done when you've not had enough revs or something, I'm not sure. But this is off my car that stopped charging. And we're going to get into this and have a little look why, and also have a look at where the code is stored on this, because apparently, according to an American smart car owner forum, because this is also using the smart for EV or something, which is a hybrid smart car, it is possible to swap out the actual active bit that has the code in it. Now, I've had to buy these things here. A little bit weird to take these nuts out. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. They are a Cattell H8. Ooh. Maybe that's not the one I'm meant to take out. That doesn't seem to want to move, does it? There's a bit of rattle in that, so I'm going to get a hand ratchet on it, because sometimes with the impact drivers, if there's too much movement, they won't bite. Because that sort of the rattling, it takes up the energy. I'm going to need a bigger ratchet. So far, I've not been able to move that. I believe I do need to, so I think I'm going to have a look in through the end here, take these covers off and see what we can see. See if there's anything that's disconnectable. Would you do me a favour and pass me the smaller Makita, please, because these screws are not over tight, so I want to use the smaller machine. I'm just going to swap to a smaller machine that's got a little bit less power, because whilst I doubt this thing's going back together and that anything in here is in any way, shape or form usable, I'm sorry, I live in an area where people don't have exhaust systems on their cars. Okay. Oh, that's interesting, look. That's the waterway for the cooling. That didn't really help a lot, did it? Oh well. Ah, the plug here. Just got like a ribbon cable on it. I'm going to put that back in because that looks delicate. Okay, that's not going to give us any access to anything interesting at this point. Water. So we decided we didn't need to take that off. That was kind of interesting just to see what was underneath it. So obviously that is flowing water around here to cool the electronics down. Now we do need to get these off, because up behind here are two connectors that connect the electrics in this bit to the rest of the body, and we need to get into that to take this apart. Potentially we might reuse the immobiliser board in this in a new part. The immobiliser board has the coding on it. Now my car is coming up and saying that it is activated but not personalised. Since I've had the car, the hybrid's not worked on it. I bought it faulty, so you know, by the by. So I'm waiting for information to come back off a couple of people on what's involved in coding these, and it may be that I won't bother swapping the board, but I thought it made sense to take this apart. Out of interest, on the end here, that's where the DC goes in and the AC comes out of there. That's just it. That is the outputs and the inputs off this. There's a bit of wire in there that goes to the battery. It's very, very simple. Interestingly, that feeds 3-phase to the gearbox and the air conditioning compressor at the same time. So all I can sort of work out is, I suppose the air conditioning compressor will turn at the same speed as the motor in the gearbox. So that's interesting. Right, I'm either fixing to break something or get these undone. So I've got this here that's got a drive on it that goes into just a normal impact driver. Got an adapter on there. I got a reducer, another reducer, and I'm going to stick a 1/2-inch drive impact on that. So either they're coming undone or I'm going to break something. We'll find out in a second. Well, this is a bit of a Hail Mary. Wow. Okay, so in here then there appears to be a plastic cover, which would make sense because there's electrical connections in here. Over the electrical connection that's in there. Okay, well, one's out, the other one hasn't moved yet, so let's go back to being abusive. Right. Oh, that's getting warm. Give me the breaker bar. This is getting slightly stupid. Right, I'm going to stop the video here because I need to get multiple sets of hands on this. I've started it moving with a breaker bar. That did not want to come out. I've just put it back in a little bit to get it off the end of there, but I mean, look, DTW 300. I've just, yeah. Right. I'm not convinced I'd copy my instruction on that. Because I'm not convinced the outcome of this is going to be positive. What? We'll get inside it and find out what's in here. There's 2 screws here. As I say, these hold some electrical connectors together. 1, 2. Now, according to the information I can find, if we remove these large ones around the outside, the 2 halves will come apart. I think I've got to do it carefully. Still using the little driver because I think I've been abusive enough towards it today already. On the plus side of things, at least I didn't have to make it into liquid. Okay, this seems to have allowed some bits to move. Little gap here. I'm just going to, oh yeah, right, so those connectors I've disconnected there. You can see as this is coming apart, they're separating. Now I believe, according to the information, that there is a ribbon cable in here that needs disconnecting. Well, yeah. I think we might have had a little fire in here. That is definitely a 3-letter word beginning in F and ending in D. Sorry, a 5-letter word. Let's take some more of this apart. Oh yeah, it's frelled. Yeah, that's the one. I'm potentially interested in saving the immobiliser board, which is this board here. This board has the processor on and contains the security for the car. You know, such as the ID and all of the immobiliser stuff. Some connectors on them. I understand why the car couldn't see it and couldn't talk to it on a diagnostic level now. So, obviously there's some sort of failure gone on with this high current connector here. And yeah, things have got a bit warmer than their specified design. There's no repairing this, obviously. Incidentally, I'm looking at somewhere between 600 and £1,200 to replace this, plus coding. Now, I was hoping I might have cheated the coding if the security board had been okay, but it's obvious to a moron that it's not. I'm not even worrying. So, the spare parts. So, this is what we call you witnessing me not having a particularly good moment. Wow, look at this. It's just gone. Whammo. I tell you what, it stinks. It's been on fire in here. This damage has all been done by the 12-volt battery. None of this has been caused by high voltage. This circuit here is the DC-DC converter for charging the battery. Now, I'm not entirely sure how Mercedes would have preferred me to take this apart, but I'm at the point where this is coming apart how it comes apart. Don't know if they're meant to unscrew. No. Oh, there's connectors underneath. There we go. Right, what's in here? So, this block here .12-volt contactor. So the 12-volt contactor has roasted itself. Took out the 12-volt side of the board. I'm not sure what we've got in here. Let's just take it apart. Let's see what else we can find in here that's interesting. We need a bigger screwdriver. This, of course, is the problem with large DC currents. Doesn't matter where you're using them. Electric cars, whatever. Doesn't matter. High currents equal high heats. Okay, so that's some sort of connector, shunt. I'm not entirely sure what that module is. I don't think it's going to come apart. Gasket. No, I don't think, if I'm honest, that this was a module failure that caused this. When I've took the car apart to take this out, the car was full of loose screws, including the DC cable that fed this lot wasn't very tight. Yeah, I don't think that's coming apart much more. So they look like a couple of inductors down there, probably some sort of smoothing. This is probably, do you know what, this is going to be a buck and boost. This is, with those coils as part of the buck and boost circuit, so this is going in both directions. That is savage. So the nut on there wasn't tight enough, that's heated up and it's killed the whole thing. So this board is the immobiliser board. This is where there's a processor on here, memory on here, and this is where the personalisation data and the coding is stored. There's nothing coming back from that. That's it's done. It's savage, but it's done. This bit in the bottom here is the 3-phase inverter that runs the motor. Now, whilst there's a little bit of blacking on here, I wouldn't mind betting that if I was to get something like this and give it a bit of a clean, the majority of that will come off. Now, I don't want to use the end of that, but look at that. This part of the inverter is okay. Now, this bit that's in here is the high current part. So this is where the 130, 135 volt DC comes in here. It also goes off through here to the other half. That's the bits we were looking at a minute ago. It goes into this board and is made into 3-phase. And on the back here is a capacitor which is connected through here. To get the capacitor out, you have to knock these out, which then let you disconnect the capacitor and you take the capacitor off the back of it. I don't think I'm going to take this apart anymore at this point, purely and simply because, as horrible as it sounds, as nasty as it looks, this part's actually still usable and may be of use to me in the future. But I wanted to show you what was inside one of these. This is Power Electronics module, power control electronics. Unfortunately, this is toast for me. I've got no coming back, and I think, to be fair, those screws were so difficult to get hold of out earlier because of how hot this thing's got. But yeah, well, thank you for watching. There is hopefully going to be more video on this because I've done video taking the car apart, diagnosing the car, and hopefully I can get hold of a replacement for it, and I can get somebody to code it and code the replacement battery, and we can bring a diesel hybrid back on the road, which will be nice. It's a vehicle that would be a great shame to scrap. It's a 2015. Okay, so it's 10 years old this year. It's an E-Class estate, AMG Night Edition, so it's fully loaded with 70,000 miles on it. So it's a really low mileage car. It's beautiful both inside and out. I don't need this rant on here. Okay, so that's about as far as I'm going to take this apart, because this part here may be of use to somebody else, because the 3-phase inverter part of the machine works okay, and that could be used on an E, on a C, and on the S, because the S class has a habit of blowing up the electronics on here, and it's a big failure point on them, and then they don't start. So I'm going to save that rather than taking it apart any further. We found out what was wrong with it. We've diagnosed why it failed, and we can move on and get a replacement, and hopefully I'll have some videos showing you the car going back together and the car working. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe, etc., and have a look at my other videos. Thank you.